your desktop looks something like this. Well, don't worry, whether you are a busy student, a working professional, or just haven't found the quite right system to organize all of your files, I am here with a foolproof desktop organization system to help bring you into 2026 on a good note. So, if you like videos like this, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's jump right into it. Okay, so if your desktop looks anything like mine, you have airdrops, recents, applications, desktop, documents, and finally you have downloads. As you can see, my downloads tab has thousands of random files for me to sort through, and that is why we are here today. A tool that I want to make you aware of from the beginning is the cleanup by tool. If you navigate to the upper top right corner of the Finder and click on the three dots, then click cleanup by, and you choose your criteria, it will automatically neatly line up all the files. And I like to do this frequently just so that the tab is easier to navigate visually. Ultimately, we are going to be moving all of our documents away from the desktop as well as the download section into the document section. We do this because when you have a lot of files stored on your desktop especially, it takes up a lot of the processing power of your computer, and it can be why your computer has been moving very slow. So double click on the keypad to create a new folder. I need mine to organize and shuffle all the files under your Documents tab into that one folder. Now that we are working with one big folder with all of those documents, we can transfer it to either the desktop or the downloads, and that's just gonna be for now. Now that we are working with a clean slate, we can begin to make folders for how we would like our files to be organized overall. For me, personal, work, and education are the three main categories I wanted to sort by. I will have many subfolders within these to be even more specific. So now we get into the good stuff. From here, we need to figure out where the folders and files on our desktop as well as our download section go within our three categories. For me, it can be different for you. I decided to start with my desktop because I had less files here. So I recommend starting with the tab that feels less intimidating to help you kind of get into the flow of this process. So for example, I'm choosing this folder called Images. Now you can see that I have already organized this file based on occasion, but what's most important here is that these images are ones that are just basically for personal use. You can take, for example, the images that I'm about to show here of photos that I took while I was in Spain. I have a whole separate folder where I keep photos that I use in my UGC portfolio, for example, or photos that I have taken for clients that will eventually be filed under the work folder. So that really is the core process here. As you can see, I have a folder of videography that I have done for my clients for my content creation business, and I have sorted it into my work folder, but they lacked organization. I also created subfolders for each client as well. At the end, we always want to come back to that cleanup button to make everything line up nicely, and boom, perfectly organized. If you put your to organized folder on your desktop like I did, at this point you're taken right back to where we started. Take your time going through this folder, putting everything in its proper category, and finally you'll be left with a clean desktop and an organized documents tab. Okay, so now we are moving into the more daunting task, at least for me, which is going to be my documents section where I have thousands of folders from random situations. I don't want you to get intimidated though. Here are a couple of tips on how you can get through these documents much more efficiently. First, you want to clean up this tab by kind. The reason for this is that you will be able to see how many of each kind of document you have and give you an easier jumping off point. From there, as you can see, I go ahead and knock out the categories with only a couple files. For example, I only had 2 items under images. Next is the quick look feature. Using this will make your sorting process much faster because you don't have to take the time to open up the file completely, but will still be able to get a closer look at it so you know where it goes. Take, for example, this PowerPoint deck that I saved for my corporate finance class. Even though I'm no longer in school, this information is still beneficial to me as an entrepreneur, but I have to know where it is in order to reference it. So I'm going to transition this PowerPoint into the education folder in my documents tab, but I'm going to take it a step further. I had multiple PowerPoints that I had saved from my master's program, so I sorted those into subfolders by subject: strategy, finance, ideation, etc. I put those into a business education folder and ultimately filed that under the larger education folder. This process has ultimately brought me down to only a couple of file types to sort through. Some suggestions that I have on how to move through these more quickly: if you have a common name you use to file similar types of documents, for example, maybe you name documents for clients in a very specific way, I recommend just typing that into the search bar and seeing if you can get multiple documents of the same kind to come up at once. For example, I knew that I have dozens of syllabi from 5 years of university, and syllabi are very valuable curations of tailored information, so I decided to shuffle all of those to the education folder. You also want to be constantly using the group by or cleanup functions. They can be really helpful to help get rid of junk downloads, codes, and files that are just taking up free space. For example, if I sort this folder by kind, I was able to separate the blank documents from the actual videos and gift myself the dopamine boost of deleting all of them in one swoop. Another little known hack is that when most people take screenshots, it directly gets saved to their desktop. If you want it to get saved to your Documents tab instead, you can just click Ctrl+5, click on Options, Other Location, then select your Documents tab as the place where all your screenshots and recordings land. The very last thing that you want to do after you're done with all the sorting is go to your Finder and set your default tab to Documents so that you are not bombarded with your Recents tab when you open a new Finder window. What I want to show you is not necessarily related to sorting, but I think it's very important, and that is how to password protect a folder. How to encrypt a folder with very personal information is important to know when it adds another layer of security. So it's actually a very easy process. You're going to start by identifying the folder that you want to password protect. For example, under my personal folder here, I have created a top secret folder that has all of my very personal financial information. And then I will go to the Utilities application, then Disk Utility. Now that we're on Disk Utility, you'll be able to press the File button and the functions there will relate to what we have running. So when you press File, you're gonna wanna go to New Image, and then you're gonna wanna press Image from Folder. Once you have done that, you're gonna wanna click on the image that you have stored all your information in. Then you're going to have an option for encryption. I usually just pick the recommended form of encryption. Apparently the second one is a stronger kind, so choose what works for you. Type in your new password. And then for image, I just go for read and write, and then press save. You'll know it's successful when you have a new disk drive saved right next to the folder that you have encrypted. So give it a try, click on the folder and type in your new password. And when you type in the password, you should go directly to your desktop because similar to an SD card or a USB drive, it is going to be immediately prompted to the desktop. Double click and it should open directly into your folder. And as you can see, my very top secret information is a picture of me from the Cowboy Carter World Tour. Definitely want to keep this gem safe. And so that is exactly how you encrypt a folder. Now, very important to know, to lock the folder again, you need to eject the disk similar to a USB drive. So you do that by double clicking on the drive on the desktop and pressing eject folder, eject disk. It's usually good form to delete the non-encrypted version of the same file once you've created it, but I always recommend that you go through this process a couple of times with a document that you don't mind losing, just to make sure you have a good grasp on the process. And you should always be storing important information to a virtual drive as well as a hard drive to prevent disasters. Okay guys, that is everything I have for you today. I hope this gives you some inspiration to help slowly detox your digital ecosystem. And if you like videos like this, again, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.